2025 is going to be my year.
Nah, I don't think I will.
Huh? I lived, I learned, and I'm still here, buddy.
And I'm gonna head out of here.
Please do.
Make no assumptions.
Just don't be anything like that guy, please. So, back in that video that I uploaded on Christmas Eve when I said that I didn't anticipate making a video surrounding the whole coming new year, well, I changed my mind. And now we're in the last 48 hours of 2025. And that was a very telling AI skit, wasn't it? That was my first time outside all day. And what time is it? Right now it's 10 after 11. Yeah, I did the editing for that skit earlier this morning, and then I went back to bed after I posted it as its own post on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram. Let's get some light in here. So 2025 was an eventful year for me in that my work situation was crazy. Although the situation was super wild card for like the first 2/3 of the year, all right, maybe roughly the first half, whatever the ratio, but the rest of the year has been much more favorable. All right, time to take down my Christmas decorations. But we're doing some tidying up now. 2025 was also the year I had to say goodbye to my old Subaru 1995 Legacy. To make a long story short, it became more problematic than what it was worth. I had that car since late 2021 and I parted ways with it back in the early summer. Now because of this year's work situation, I was not able to get a whole lot of fun in my system how I wanted to. There's some dinner gatherings here at the house I missed out on. In addition to the grind being tough, I had actually been somewhat paranoid about my Subaru. As much as I wanted to spend some recreational time on the road, I was concerned that my Legacy, my Subaru, was on its last leg. And I would worry about the possibility of, okay, let's say I go to West Virginia. I finally take a trip to my favorite part of West Virginia, and I break down. Just that, here closer to or at home, I was concerned about my wheels. I'm not going to do a deep dive, but during my vacation last year in October, I had some concerning issues with my car, some brief startup issues, and it kind of left an imprint on me. The late spring, early summer was a doozy. Now, with that car, I had an oil leak for as long as I can remember, but it got to where, like, all the oil finally leaked out, late spring, early summer, and then came some kind of issue with my front driver's side axle or joint or something, and yeah, startup issues too. Now I'm not having any transportation issues, but with my new used car, right after my 30th birthday, I had a blowout on my back passenger side tire. And upon further examination, it looked like that other back tire was about to go too. So one tire that I needed to have replaced became two, and I ended up replacing all four. It had to be done eventually anyway, even though the two front tires were decent. I'm going to have me some of this now. Also attempted to, hang on. Also attempted to grow some banana peppers and green bell peppers. But unlike last year's failure with the banana peppers, I was able to eat some banana peppers this year, but the bell peppers never made it through the process rather. And I wanted to make some kind of a stuffed pepper dish. I was thinking something along the lines of like rice, tomato sauce, maybe like beef or steak or something like that, or maybe some kind of chicken Alfredo recipe. Now Stouffer's makes stuffed peppers that you can just throw in the microwave, but if I really want to try the DIY route so bad, I'll just have to get me a pepper from the store. It'll still be considered DIY even though I didn't grow the thing. Now I've been doing some reading on and off this year as well. So in general, I'll say that most of my reading was like more serious and evoked during the first part of the year. And mainly it's to the tune of self-help and inspiration. And I've also been reading with Amazon's Kindle too. Now 2025 has been a year of numerous celebrity deaths, like Val Kilmer, Gene Hackman, Hulk Hogan, Rick Derringer, the guy who performed Hulk Hogan's theme song, Ace Frehley, and that was a big shocker, no pun intended, Ozzy Osbourne, and more, including Charlie Kirk. Following Charlie Kirk on and off for about 5 years. He was a conservative guy who encouraged dialogue, pro-freedom, pro-America, pro-traditional values. Especially he wanted to win over the younger demographic of this country to these things. And he did not deserve what happened to him. And I've seen the video too. It was not pleasant. And even though my guy won the election, we haven't reached that Pax Americana that we need to have. And I'm not using my platform to endorse a political party. The left and the right both have their flaws. I oppose identity politics, but I'm a conservative. I believe in limited central government. I acknowledge that this country is a constitutional republic, not a democracy in the sense of direct democracy, which could potentially become a form of mob rule, disenfranchise, persecute, and attack those in the minority. I'm pro First and Second Amendment. No, I'm not a fascist. I do not believe in using the apparatus of the state to dictate social and cultural policies, as if to force people to behave and believe a certain way. Even though America is a secular country, John Adams famously stated, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. You know, certain aspects of Western culture have been influenced by biblical values and also Western philosophy, especially Stoicism from Greece and Rome. In my eyes, the flex of a good, decent, and fair nation is not that of military prowess, nor of innumerable riches, but rather a society of virtue and moral compass. And I'm going to leave it at that. By the way, the original very first two videos that I had on the Quirky Orchard YouTube channel, they were kind of politically charged, and they were surrounding the whole Charlie Kirk assassination thing, and he did not deserve that happening to him. I'll state once more. But I've opted out of the possibility of political discourse being a heavy influence on my content and project. So I took them down. And at times it might seem that MAGA is not MAGA-ing and America First is not America Firsting as well and effectively as the likes of me want to see, but I'm not going to commit my future into the hands of men and women in suits, whether they're in political chambers or corporate conference halls. I want to be in control of my destiny. And going into 2026, I would prefer to have nothing to do, little to nothing to do, with rat race mentality and the consumer mind virus. I want to make powerful and healthy decisions for myself going into this next year. I want to better myself. I want to up my game in eating healthier. I want to save money and spend it wisely. Got a couple of these weights right here. I want to get in the habit of using, and I also got this weight bench that I've had for about a decade. That's been in the storage unit since 2018 because living in relocation scenarios. So I reckon right now as we speak, I'm setting myself an intention for this coming year. But keeping in mind about how the love of money is the root of all evil, and also what I talked about with politics, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of people claiming, yeah, 2026 is going to be my year. I'm going to own that beast. So I reckon people are either trying to be cautious, not want to get their hopes too high, or people have gotten burnt out and unmotivated. Perhaps not even having a clear and concise enough vision. Me, myself, I do want to be optimistic, albeit I don't want to bite off more than I can chew and get overconfident. I want to be tactful and ever evolving, ever learning. Just in case George Carlin's right about how it's called the American dream because you got to be asleep to believe it. I want to conduct myself like, nobody's coming to save me. There's no going back to what we had before, because the powers of darkness that be are not going to profit from that. That doesn't mean I have to confine myself to mediocrity. I matter. I'm going to show up for myself. Life is not best lived from the back seat. It's up to me to build myself up from the inside out. I've got all this knowledge I've learned some good resources from people like Lindsay C. Gibson, Sven Erlandson, Badass Counseling, Dr. Nicole LaPera, the holistic psychologist. And even mentioned Stoicism earlier. I mean, that was Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. There's very good Christian content I've been consuming as well. And I'm not super open about my faith. I know that my walk and talk could be more congruent, but I know where I stand. Going into 2026, I really want to digest the importance of not forcing outcomes. There's this piece of psychology that talks about how when we think about things that we really want and things we would really like to have, all these negative emotions and thoughts come up to trouble us and perhaps even sway us off the path of acquiring our desires. But do we even want the things that we say and think that we want? Or is there a particular result that we want, that we think this particular acquisition is going to bring? There are a lot of things out there that tie into self-worth, and I'm on a self-worth journey myself. It's easy to think that in order to matter at all, or to even put ourselves on the map, we got to perform, pursue, achieve, acquire, seek external validation. Subconscious to unconscious idea that self-worth has to be earned. And although nothing can be further from the truth, that doesn't change the fact that we have to evolve and learn. I'm not going to put some average Joe off the street into the cockpit of a 747. They're not going to commission you to design and build a stunning building of great architecture if you're only experienced with Legos and Lincoln Logs, or give you a great kitchen job when you're more fond of microwaving TV dinners and pizza rolls than getting down and dirty on the stovetop. And hey, I'll tell you what, I'm not claiming to be the brightest bulb in the box, but I can cook. I can make a mean steak. But yeah, the playing field is not going to be watered down and softened up for us. There are going to be winners, hopefuls, and people who come up short. There's going to be rich, there's going to be poor. There are going to be desk jobbers, and there are going to be hammer and nail laborers. And all of a sudden I'm reminded of this phrase that's attributed to Theodore Roosevelt: comparison is the thief of joy. And I might add that comparison is the snare or trapping net that self-worth can fall into. So yeah, let's go into 2026 showing ourselves the love and respect we want from other people. Pursue clarity and accept it's okay to have feelings, because feelings such as depression are dashboard indicators meant to guide us, not life sentences. Try not to force results and be obsessed with control. There comes a time where you gotta know when and where to leave. It's the thought that counts at the door. Be principled, be virtuous, be aware. Regulate your nervous system. That is a big one. I'm going to take a little bit of time and expound on this, because we can find ourselves in a dysregulated nervous system state because we found ourselves stressed out, because we're not caring for ourselves properly, because we have unmet needs that we may or may not even realize that we have. Now, just because facts of life don't care about your feelings it doesn't mean that your feelings don't matter. It does not mean that your experience is invalid. And I know this kind of thing is easier said than done, especially for me. But when you learn how to properly self-soothe, relax, regulate, and not just clear and empty your mind, but replace the bad with the good and resourceful. When you're operating from a positive and parasympathetic state, you feel at home in your own body, you're confident and accepting of yourself and your judgment, and other people can pick up on it. There's the science behind this. I'm trying to stay away from New Age speak to the best of my ability, but you can have an aura that describes yourself for you to other people without you having to say or do anything. Like, there could be little to no super obvious cues that you're upset, you're angry, your Cheerios got peed in. It's like this electromagnetic field of discomfort washes over a person who happens to be nearby. I'm not preaching any cosmic sense law of attraction either, but we can regulate and manipulate our own electromagnetic fields or auras or vibes for good too, to where it could even become contagious positivity. But there is a certain level of self-mastery that's required. Include self-love and self-care. Uninstalling voices in our heads, as well as ideas and labels that are not even our own. Not so much as discovering who we are, but allowing who we really are to unearth itself, probably for the first time ever, or for the first time in a very long time. But what's more, I've been having this problem. It seems like when I do want to work on myself and let my light shine, grab the bull that is life by the horns, throw my shoulders back and actually try to live a little, it's like I'm asking for trouble. It's like I'm openly inviting trouble to come to me. I'm going to give some examples. Now, I don't think I have it anymore, but I had this spray bottle that's supposed to be holy water. Now, me personally, I do not ascribe supernatural power or presence to objects, but I guess it's some kind of inspirational gesture. There was a spray bottle of holy water that I had that I sprayed on my 2002 Chevrolet Trailblazer SUV that I had, and that was the vehicle that I had before my Subaru. And within like 2 or 3 days, it was Halloween night, and I hit a deer on my way home from work. The vehicle was a loss, and I was strung out, distraught. And a more recent example this year, back to the subject of reading all that self-help material, even a little bit of Norman Vincent Peale. I was trying to get myself to being in that state of happiness, confidence, boldness, faith, optimism, comfortability with and within myself. And then all of a sudden my work-life balance becomes as lopsided as a palm tree in a hurricane. But my self-reflection, what I'm wondering is, when whatever bad things happen, am I really attracting trouble? Am I being divinely tested? Or are there elements of self-sabotage present? Now I'm thinking further. I keep on talking about how there's been this need for control. I think that our fixation with control actually has to do with our fixation with comfort. And there's a quote out there that's attributed to Marcus Aurelius that goes like this: comfort is the worst addiction. Now, when I talk about evolution, I'm not talking about the atheistic Darwinist sense of it. I use it as a term for growth as individuals, perhaps to one extent or another, society. But there's also this proverb out there that says, smooth seas don't make skilled sailors. And it's probably some past trauma or some past disappointment or some failure or some negative event that has impacted us to where we have that fixation with control and comfort in the first place. Or even a series of negative things that lead to that point. And this is where self-help and spirituality and psychology can be most useful, and I'm still a work in progress. And this is all easier said than done, but another phrase I'm going to throw at you is sometimes the hardest part is the first step. I still have my highs and my plateaus and my dips. That's life. About 90% of what made up this video was unscripted, unplanned. I'm just trying to let things fly and flow the best I can. Yeah, don't let the matrix, or whatever you want to call it, keep you down. Just continue to build up and improve yourself from the inside out. One more phrase for you. Throw your heart over the bar and your body will follow. Well, thank you guys for watching. I know that this seems all choppy and perhaps not so much well thought through I know that I used AI to make that skit at the beginning, but unlike some other videos, I chose not to throw in accompanying visuals, including realistic AI visuals, to try and stimulate your watching experience. I want this to be as raw and real as possible. And I've actually been working on this video for a while now. My brain is in use, and I have been smoking that pause resume button at the same time trying to take care of some odds and ends. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. This is Rowdy Jefferson of the Quirky Orchard, wishing you a happy 2026. Thank you.